Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. You can't afford to be here. The laughter wasn't quiet. It rang out, sharp, cruel, echoing through the spotless showroom like coins dropped on marble. Ma'am, you need to leave. The man stood with his arms crossed, his navy dealership blazer stretching slightly at the shoulders, dealership logo stitched neatly on the chest like it made him royalty. His smile was polite, but it didn't reach his eyes. The kind of smile meant for someone beneath you. We don't allow loitering. Amara blinked, thrown off by how fast it had turned. 1 second she was admiring the sleek matte black Bentley, parked on the glass-tiled floor. The next, she was being watched like a thief. "I'm not loitering," she said softly. Behind the man, a sharply dressed woman in red stilettos clicked her tongue and muttered something under her breath. A second salesman, younger, smug, joined them and stood slightly behind, like backup muscle for a fight that didn't need to happen. Amara stood still, both hands clutching her phone in her hoodie pocket. Her jeans were old, her sneakers even older, and her oversized hoodie, faded black with a tear near the hem, didn't exactly scream Bentley customer. But she hadn't touched anything, hadn't stepped too close, just stood a few feet from the car, imagining. "I'm just looking," she added. "Is that not allowed?" The older man's tone sharpened. "These vehicles aren't for tourists. Ma'am, you understand." The younger one chuckled. Maybe she got lost looking for the bus stop. The woman in stilettos didn't even pretend not to laugh. Amara felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her face still. Her fingers curled tighter around her phone. She could still see the bus stop across the street. She could see the reflection of the entire showroom in the dealership's polished windows and herself in it. She didn't belong here. That was the message. Loud and clear. Her stomach growled quietly, a cruel reminder that she hadn't eaten since the half a granola bar she'd saved the night before. Her phone was down to 6% battery. The Uber ride to this dealership had taken her last $11.32, and she still had no idea if this was going to work. But she stayed. "I'm waiting for someone," she said calmly, even though her heart was pounding. The woman raised a sculpted brow. "Sweetie, unless he's bringing a lottery ticket and a trust fund, I don't think it matters." And just like that, the older man's smile vanished. "Then you can wait outside." 2 steps forward, not a shove, not a touch, but the intent was loud enough. With slow, deliberate movements, Amara turned and walked toward the glass doors. Her palms were sweating, her throat tight as the doors whispered close behind her. She heard it. Is she seriously pretending she's a buyer? Broke girl, rich dreams, and worst of all, the click of a phone camera. She turned just in time to see the young salesman pretending to take a selfie, but the lens was pointed toward her. She was the joke, the punchline, the story they'd tell at happy hour. Shouldn't have come. The sun hit her face hard as she stepped outside. It was hotter than she expected, or maybe she was just burning on the inside. She sat down on the concrete bench, just outside the dealership's entrance. Her fingers shook slightly as she pulled out her phone. No new messages, no missed calls. Her reflection in the black glass of the building stared back at her, tired, worn, out of place. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number. Hall. Be there in 3 minutes. Don't say a word until I tell you. Her breath caught. She stared at the message, reading it again, and again. It's real, she told herself. It's happening. She forced herself to sit still. 3 minutes passed. Then came the sound. Not loud, not like those boys with the modified engines, who thought noise equaled power. This was something different. A deep, velvet growl. Rich and smooth, authority wrapped in chrome. Heads turned. From the corner of the lot, a Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled in. Silver, impossibly clean. Tires whispering across the pavement like it didn't even touch the ground. No license plate, just a single black and gold emblem on the front. Lionheart. The dealership employees stopped what they were doing. The glass doors parted as one by one. People stepped out. Amara didn't move. The Rolls-Royce came to a gentle stop in front of her. The passenger door opened. A man stepped out. Charcoal suit, silver cufflinks, a thin scar down his left cheek. He didn't look rushed or surprised. He looked sent. He adjusted his sleeves and looked at her. "Miss Blake," he said, with a slight nod. "Your father sent me." All 3 salespeople froze. The man gestured to the car. He said, "You may choose whichever vehicle you'd like today, or all of them." A beat of silence, then gasps behind the glass. Amara rose to her feet slowly. Her legs felt steady now. Her eyes found the older salesman's, the one who had told her to wait outside. This time, she smiled. "You're not supposed to be here." The engine was still running, soft as silk, as the man held the car door open for Amara. "Miss Blake," he repeated, "your father is expecting you." The salespeople stood frozen in the dealership doorway, expressions sliding from confusion to something sharper recognition, maybe even fear. Amara didn't say a word. She slipped into the back seat of the Rolls-Royce, like she'd done it 100 times. The scent inside was familiar cedarwood, clean leather, something faintly metallic, like memory. The door shut with a soft thump, sealing her in from the world outside. The driver didn't look back. "I'm instructed to take you to your father's estate. We'll arrive in 23 minutes. She said nothing. Instead, she stared out the tinted window as the dealership disappeared behind them, swallowed by heat and distance. And finally she let herself breathe. The last time Amara had sat in one of her father's cars, she was 14 years old, and she had been crying, not because of him, not directly, but because her mother had just been fired from her job as a housekeeper in one of her father's downtown hotels. No explanation, no warning, just a cold envelope and an even colder silence. That night, Amara had waited in his driveway with her fists balled, waiting to ask why. He never came out. Instead, a butler brought her a plate of untouched steak and a check for $500. She'd torn both in half and walked away. Been walking ever since. "Does he know I'm coming?" she finally asked. The man in the charcoal suit didn't turn. "He instructed me to retrieve you the moment you arrived." Amara narrowed her eyes. "So he's been watching me." A pause. "He's been aware. That's all I'm permitted to say." Of course, her father never did anything directly. He moved people like chess pieces, quiet, strategic, ruthless. She glanced down at her hoodie. It was damp from sweat and wrinkled from yesterday's sleep. Her phone buzzed again, but the screen had gone black. Dead figures. She stared out the window again. Skyscrapers gave way to iron gates. Palm-lined streets melted into wide, empty roads. And then, like it had grown out of the land itself, her father's estate rose in the distance, all sharp glass, grey stone, and acres of silence. The car glided to a stop at the front steps. A maid in white stood waiting with a clipboard and a tight smile. A man with earpieces opened her door. She stepped out slowly. The air smelled different here, cleaner, controlled. The front door opened before she reached it, and there he was, Darius Blake, billionaire hotel mogul, real estate shark, collector of things and people. A man with more security guards than family photos, and also her father. He looked almost exactly the same, tall, imposing, impeccably dressed, as if nothing, not time, not heartbreak, not absence could touch him. He tilted his head slightly. "You look tired." Amara stared at him. "And you look like a man who hasn't called his daughter in 4 years. Silence. Then, he stepped aside. "Come in." The hallway hadn't changed. Same black marble floors, same cold lighting. The same hallway that had once echoed with her bare feet when she was small enough to chase the house cat between the rooms. Now, it just echoed. They entered the study. He closed the door behind them. "I assume you're wondering why I asked you here," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "I wasn't aware I had a choice. I heard about the dealership." Of course he had. "And Tant, and I thought it was time we talked." Amara laughed, sharp, bitter. "You threw money at us instead of ever being a father. You replaced your own daughter with strangers. You fired my mom for no reason and didn't even pick up the phone. Now you want to talk." He didn't flinch. "You don't know everything." Her voice dropped. "I know enough." "No, you don't." He walked to the wall behind the desk and pressed something she couldn't see. A panel slid open. Behind it, a safe. He pulled out a black envelope and set it on the desk in front of her. Inside was a USB drive and a photograph her mother, standing beside a man Amara didn't recognize, smiling too closely. Her father looked at her. "Your mother didn't get fired. She was asked to leave after I discovered something." Amara's chest tightened. "What are you saying? I never wanted to tell you this, but I wasn't the one who betrayed this family." The room felt like it was closing in. Her father leaned forward. "Watch the files on that drive. Then tell me if you still want to hate me," she stormed. Out of the room 5 minutes later. The driver was waiting outside. Expression unreadable. She didn't say anything, just held up the envelope. He nodded back in the car. She stared at her shaking hands. Was everything she believed a lie? Her phone finally blinked back to life, barely at 1%. A single new message from the unknown number. Now you know. But be careful, Amara. Everyone's watching. And not everyone wants you to learn the truth. The files that weren't meant to be. Amara stared at the USB drive like it was ticking. She was back in her old apartment, a cramped one-bedroom, above a laundromat, where the walls were thin and the plumbing moaned at night. Her hoodie still smelled faintly of the leather seats from the Rolls, like two worlds colliding on her skin. The envelope lay open beside her laptop. Her mother's photograph stared back up at her, still smiling, still unknowable. Was it true? Could the woman who used to hold her through asthma attacks, the woman who once went hungry so Amara could eat, really have betrayed them both? She hesitated, then plugged in the USB. A single folder popped up. Not what it seems inside. 5 video files. No titles. No timestamps. She clicked the first. Security footage. A hotel lobby. One of her father's properties. She recognized the layout. Her mother stood at the front desk, head tilted, laughing. Across from her, a man in a tailored grey suit. Handsome, well-groomed. Not Darius Blake. They weren't just chatting. He brushed a strand of her hair back. Her mother didn't flinch. She smiled. Amara's stomach turned. Second file. A hallway camera. The same man, her mother, entering a hotel room together. Door closes behind them. The third video. Same room. Same two. Laughing, drinking wine. Then a kiss. Amara flinched. She shut the laptop. Her breath came fast. Uneven. No. This didn't make sense. Her mother never dated anyone. She always said she didn't have time. She never even hinted at secrets. Amara rubbed her temples. Her thoughts screamed. Maybe the footage was doctored. Maybe it was a setup. Or maybe she didn't know what to believe anymore. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. There's more than one kind of betrayal. Some hide in love, some in silence. You still don't see the full picture. She texted back for the first time. Who are you? No reply. The next morning she went back, not to the mansion, to someone who might give her real answers. Aunt Lila, her mother's sister, the one who never liked Darius, the one who used to warn them, even when Amara was too young to understand what she meant by, that man only plays nice when he's losing. Lila lived in a cluttered brownstone with cats and chaos and honest eyes. When Amara showed her the videos, Lila didn't gasp, didn't even look shocked. She just sat back and crossed her arms. So he finally pulled that card. Amara frowned. You knew. I knew of it. I also knew your mother was being followed for months before those videos were taken. Your father had her watched every time she left the house, because she was cheating. No, sweetheart, Lila said gently, because she was planning to leave him. Amara's throat dried. What? She was building a case, trying to get custody of you, trying to prove emotional neglect. She met that man because he was helping her. He was a lawyer. They did fall in love later, but not at the start, and never while she was still living under Darius's roof. She waited. She suffered waiting. Amara sat still, the weight of it slamming down on her chest. All those years, Lila whispered, your mother never told you, not because she was ashamed, but because she wanted to protect you from your father's wrath, from picking sides, from the ugliness. Amara felt like the floor had tilted under her. But why didn't she fight back? Why didn't she clear her name? She tried, but then the threats started. A car nearly hit her once. Your school files disappeared. Her bank accounts froze. All. Coincidences, of course. Amara's hands shook. He said she betrayed him. He betrayed her first in every way that matters. That night, Amara sat alone with her laptop. She opened the fourth video. This one showed her younger, maybe 15, sitting at the edge of a garden fountain, crying. Her mother walked into the frame, held her, rocked her gently. Behind a bush, a hidden camera. Why was this recorded? She clicked the fifth and final video. It was a recording from a surveillance room. Her father's voice. He stood with 2 men. She recognized one of them, his head of security. She's growing up. Looks too much like her mother now, Darius said coldly. If she ever finds out what really happened, it'll all fall apart. Do we keep the tapes? Destroy the rest? Keep only what we can control? The screen went black. Her phone lit up. Unknown number. Now you understand. The choice is yours. Burn the truth, or expose it all. Amara stared at the screen, then replied, "Who are you?" The response came instantly. "Someone who wants him to finally lose. Just like your mother did." The offer she wasn't supposed to refuse, the morning air outside. Amara's apartment was colder than usual. Maybe it was just her. She hadn't slept. The USB, the videos, her aunt's warnings, all of it twisted in her mind like barbed wire. Every time she thought she'd reach the center of it, another layer unfolded, darker than the last. And now, the messages. Someone who wants him to finally lose. Was it revenge, justice, or something worse? Amara pulled her hoodie tight and stepped out onto the cracked sidewalk. She had one place left to go, not to hide, to confront this time. She would control the conversation. The gates of her father's estate opened slower than before, deliberately. The same driver greeted her. No expression, no words, just a nod and a silent escort into the mansion. This time, Darius Blake was already waiting for her in the study. He stood beside the fireplace, hands clasped behind his back, like a man preparing for battle. Or maybe judgment. "You watched the videos," he said flatly. "I did, and Mara didn't sit. I want to know everything," she said. "No more pieces, no more performances, just the truth." He studied her carefully, like he was calculating how much she already knew and how much she could take. "You've always been like your mother, emotionally impulsive, dramatic." "No," Amara snapped. "I'm just tired of being lied to." He exhaled slowly, and for the first time, Amara saw age in his face. Not just years. Regret. "Wait. I loved her," he said. "I really did. But she stopped being mine long before she left. She was never a possession," Amara said coldly. His jaw tensed. "She was disloyal. And when people are disloyal to me, I protect what's mine. That includes you." "That's not protection," she said. "That's control." A long silence passed between them. Then he walked to the desk, opened a drawer, and slid a manila envelope toward her. "Inside is a deed to a penthouse downtown. Your name, fully paid. Also a check, enough to keep you comfortable for the rest of your life." Amara's eyes narrowed. "What is this?" "A reset," he said. "You walk away. No more digging, no more ghosts. You move on, and I never interfere again." She stared at him. "And if I don't?" His eyes hardened. "Then I unleash every lawyer I have. I'll bury you in paperwork, smear your mother's name so deep you'll choke trying to defend her. I'll make you wish you never opened that drive." Her hands clenched. "So you're blackmailing your own daughter?" "I'm giving you a choice," he said. "The same one she had." The silence was thick, suffocating. Finally, Amara picked up the envelope. She opened it, pulled out the deed, the check. Then she tore them both in half. "You can't buy silence anymore." Darius didn't react, but something in his eyes flickered, like surprise or fear. She leaned in. "You taught me something. You taught me what power looks like. And now, I know how to use it." She left the estate without another word, but the moment she stepped outside, she saw it. A figure in a black hoodie, across the street. Watching, she didn't break stride, but her heart pounded by the time she turned the corner. Her phone buzzed. Again. "Unknown number." Good. He needed to hear it. "Now it's time to act." She texted back, her fingers trembling. "I'm done with games. Who are you?" This time, the response wasn't a cryptic message. It was a location. Downtown, an abandoned office building near the old docks. 10 p.m. She hesitated. This could be a trap, or it could be the final key to the truth. She arrived just before 10. The building was dark, deserted, the kind of place where bad things echoed forever. She stepped inside slowly, her phone flashlight shaking in her hand. Then a voice behind her. "You're braver than I expected." She turned fast. A man, late 30s, lean, scarred across one cheek. Familiar, but not in a comforting way. He stepped closer. "You don't know me, but I knew your mother better than most." Amara backed up slightly. "And you've been texting me?" He nodded. "I worked security at one of your father's hotels. Your mother trusted me. She left me copies of things, evidence. She knew one day you'd start asking questions. Why wait until now? Because now he's weak. His enemies are circling, and you're the only one who can finish what she started." He reached into his coat and pulled out a flash drive. Everything. Financial records, bribery logs, surveillance logs he thought were destroyed, proof of the setups, the threats, even your mother's sealed legal filings. Amara took it, slowly. Her heart was beating so loud, she could barely hear his next words. You release this, he falls hard. But be ready, he won't go quietly. She stared at the drive in her hand. This was it, the power to destroy him, or let him win later. That night, Amara sat alone in her apartment, the drive on the table, a news station open on her laptop. Her finger hovered over the email button, and then another text. He's already moving. His lawyers just contacted 2 media outlets. They're spinning it, calling you unstable. You need to act, now. She looked up. The truth wasn't safe. But silence was worse, and for the first time in her life, Amara wasn't afraid. She hit send. The world finally watched. The storm didn't wait. Within 12 hours of Amara sending the files to multiple media outlets, the story hit like a shockwave. Breaking news. Billionaire hotel mogul Darius Blake accused of long-term coercion and cover-ups by his own daughter. The headlines spread like wildfire. Talk shows speculated. Social media exploded. Every with a moral compass had an opinion. Some hailed Amara as a hero. Others questioned her motives, but no one could ignore the evidence. There were files, dates, wire transfers, emails, surveillance logs showing how her father had systematically monitored, threatened, and manipulated not only her mother, but anyone who dared to cross him. Amara watched it all unfold from her couch, wrapped in the same hoodie she wore the day she walked into that dealership. Funny. That felt like a lifetime ago now. She barely ate, barely slept. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Friends, strangers, journalists, people reaching out with thanks, support, warnings, and threats. It started small, a rock thrown through her apartment window at 3 a.m. No note, just broken glass and silence. Then her bank account froze. The bank claimed it was routine verification. She knew better. By morning, 3 unmarked black cars were spotted idling outside her building. The man who'd given her the final flash drive, Marcus, called her from a burner phone. You need to leave. He's scared now, and scared men don't fight clean. I'm not running. You don't need to. Just relocate for now. We've arranged a safe house outside the city. Use it. She hesitated. I'm not afraid, she whispered. You should be, he said. He just hired someone I used to work with, and he doesn't do negotiations. An hour later, Amara stood outside her apartment building with a single backpack, and the envelope she'd once ripped in half, now taped back together. It wasn't about the money. It was about reclaiming what had once tried to own her. She didn't look back. The safe house was a modest lakefront cabin, quiet, clean, stocked with food, blankets, and silence. Marcus visited only once, dropped off a secure phone and a burner laptop. Then he left with one sentence: stay strong. The end's closer than you think. Days passed. The world kept spinning. The media tore through Darius Blake's empire like vultures. Hotels started pulling out of contracts. Partners dropped his name. A luxury brand announced it would no longer sponsor his resorts. Former employees came forward. Lawsuits piled up. Still, Darius hadn't spoken publicly, not once, until the video dropped. It was a slick production, clean suit, softer lighting, a calculated performance. He sat in his office, hands folded, voice calm, tone rehearsed. These are deeply personal family matters, and while my daughter's pain is real, the narrative being spun is misleading. I have loved her every day of her life. I regret the ways we've failed each other. He called it a family tragedy twisted into a media circus. He painted Amara as traumatized, misguided, and manipulated by dangerous people with their own agendas. It wasn't a denial. It wasn't an apology. It was a chess move, and it worked. For some, headlines began to shift. Father or villain? The Darius Blake scandal takes a turn. Sources say Amara Blake struggled with mental health before accusations. Alone by the lake, Amara felt it happening, the tide turning, the truth being repackaged. Even now, he was winning. The narrative. Until she got the message. Another unknown number. But this one was different. They're planning to discredit you. Hard. A sealed report. Your therapy sessions. Leaks are coming. We need to flip the board. Attached was a video file. Amara opened it and froze. Her father, sitting in a boardroom, not recent, older, 2 years, maybe. He was laughing, surrounded by men in suits, champagne glasses clinking. She doesn't even know what I erased from that school file, he said. Poor thing still thinks she got that scholarship because of her grades. More laughter. She's like her mother. All fire. No idea where the real power lives. The camera angle was low. Secret. Someone had filmed it without them knowing. It was ugly, arrogant, real. If the public saw this, there'd be no spin strong enough to save him. But releasing it meant total war. There'd be no turning back. That night, Amara sat on the cabin porch, staring at the lake, wind rippling over the surface like breath. She thought about her mother, quiet strength, the sacrifices, the choice to protect instead of destroy. Would she want me to go this far? Then she thought about the girl in the dealership, the one they laughed at, judged, treated, like she didn't belong. She remembered the way the laughter stopped when the Rolls-Royce pulled up, and she realized this wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every daughter who'd ever been told to sit down, be quiet, and accept the story someone else wrote for her. Amara opened her laptop and uploaded the video. The silence after the roar of the video hit the internet at 7:42 p.m. By 8:15, it had 2 million views. By midnight, Darius Blake was trending in 47 countries, not as a tycoon, but as a tyrant. There was no polished lighting, no sympathetic narrative, no soft piano playing in the background, just raw audio, laughter, arrogance, a father mocking his own daughter and the scholarship she'd worked for. Proof that the empire he'd built wasn't just paved in money, but manipulation. The public snapped. Sponsors pulled out en masse. A class action lawsuit was filed the next morning. Board members from his chain of luxury hotels publicly resigned. Politicians who'd once shaken his hand on red carpets now pretended not to know him. Even his attorneys looked uncomfortable. On camera. And Amara, she was nowhere to be found. She stayed silent for 3 days. No posts, no interviews, no statements, not out of fear, but because the silence was finally hers. No more firestorms, no more control. The world was watching, not waiting. And when she finally spoke, it wasn't to the media. It was in a simple, quiet video she recorded alone in the cabin. No makeup, no script, just Amara, real, raw, and brave. My name is Amara Blake. I never asked to become a headline. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted truth. For my mother, for me, and for every person who's ever been silenced by power they couldn't fight. She didn't cry. She didn't perform. She just told her story, start to finish. The pressure, the lies, the dealership, and the decision to stand up. Sometimes the world tells you you're too small to matter, but if you speak up anyway, you shake giants. The video went viral within hours. It wasn't scandal anymore. It was something deeper, a movement. Meanwhile, Darius Blake was crumbling in slow motion. His PR team quit. 2 internal auditors handed over records to federal investigators. And then, a warrant. The news broke like thunder. Darius Blake indicted for obstruction, wire fraud, and witness tampering. Amara watched it on a cracked TV in a quiet motel outside Chicago. Her phone buzzed with messages she didn't answer, except one. Marcus, he's done. You did it. She replied only once. No, we did. 2 weeks later, Mara stood in front of her mother's grave. The sun was warm, but the wind was biting. She wore all black, not for mourning, for remembrance. A fresh bouquet in her hands. No press, no cameras, just closure. Mom, she whispered, kneeling. They know now. Everything. She paused. I wish you could have seen it, but I felt you the whole time. Every moment I wanted to give up. I heard your voice. Her hand brushed the gravestone gently. You didn't die in silence. You just passed the torch. Behind her, the wind moved through the trees, like a whisper, a blessing. Later that afternoon, she drove past the same dealership, the same place where the laughter started, same glass doors, same smug-looking manager at the desk. Only this time, Amara wasn't walking in alone and invisible. She stepped out of a matte black Rolls-Royce Ghost, not her father's, hers. Custom plates, truth. People turned, whispers spread. She walked, in wearing calm-like armor, her heels echoing against the tile like thunderclaps. The same manager blinked twice. You came back. She tilted her head, just browsing. He swallowed hard. We didn't know who you were. You didn't care, she replied. You just saw skin and sneakers. Silence. I own one of your competitors' lots now, she added casually, and half your inventory's coming up for auction. Thought I'd give you a heads up. He paled, then she smiled, soft but deadly. "Have a nice day." Outside, Amara slid into the driver's seat. She didn't speed away. She just sat there, breathing. This wasn't revenge. This was released. In the months that followed, Amara didn't disappear, but she didn't seek the spotlight either. She took courses in business, law, started a foundation for women escaping coercive control, spoke at 2 universities. Published an op-ed titled, "Power Isn't Inherited, It's Claimed," and slowly, without apology, she rebuilt herself from ashes. Yes, but stronger, smarter, and no longer alone. One morning, a letter arrived at the foundation's office. No return address, handwritten. She opened it slowly. "I was in that boardroom when your father laughed. I stayed quiet. I shouldn't have. I've left the company. I've donated everything I earned from those years to your foundation. You gave us all permission to be brave. I hope you forgive me. Don't know. No name. Just a donation slip. $750,000. Amara closed the letter gently, tears blurring her vision. Not from pain, but from proof that even the worst darkness can lead to light. Final line. Sometimes being laughed at is just the first sound before the world finally listens. The end.